All right, man. Ready when you are. We can
Yeah.
just improv
Shit, I thought I turned off my
it.
do not disturb. I'm getting all these messages on my phone popping up covering your face.
I don't even know where
Or
mine's at, but that's okay.
yeah. Well, I'm just gonna post it. I'm not gonna even edit this.
Yeah.
Nah. Hey everyone, it's Mark, your firefighter, realtor, and out-of-state investor. I have a return guest on. I have Hugo Alonso from Stay Winning. And I'm trying this new format. I'm going to try to get some regular weekly guests back on the channel, and we're going to talk about some different topics. And today we're going to kind of discuss on what is the biggest financial lie that you've been told. So welcome back, Hugo.
Hey, what's up, Mark? Great to be back, especially so soon. Thank you for the opportunity. It was fun last time, so maybe we can make another good one here for the people.
Yeah, we got a pretty good response. A lot of people said they thought we were, buddies from a long time. I said, no, man, I just met him recently. Yeah, but there was a great conversation going. So I definitely hope that, our schedules can work out and we can have kind of this regular thing going. But yeah, I kind of want to, so we'll jump right into it, kind of talk about maybe what was the biggest financial lie that you've been told.
Man, I would have to say the biggest financial lie I've been told is that money isn't everything. And that is the
Ah,
big BS.
okay.
That's the biggest lie that I can recall.
Is that
That's
something that was from when you were young or,
Oh yeah, definitely from when I was young. So maybe like my late teens or early 20s. I remember friends saying that money wasn't everything.
Okay. Like you saying happiness was more important. Is that what they were kind of telling you or
Yeah, so they had just come back from a trip. This trip was to a third world country, and as we all can imagine, there's not many resources there. But she mentioned and noticed how happy people were compared to here in a high traffic area. And she mentioned, yeah, that's how life should be. Money isn't everything. Um, so that was what she took from that trip. But to me, I disagree, and I think that's the biggest lie I've been told, money wise.
so did you believe her at all? Like did it kind of maybe teach you some bad habits or did you kind of believe what she was saying and you kind of went down that path a little bit?
No, I didn't. I didn't go down that path a little bit because I'm still very happy. Like I didn't feel I needed less money to be happier. In fact, I noticed the more money I got, the happier I was. Right? I mean, you can see on Twitter people go, "Money isn't everything," or "Money, money doesn't buy happiness." I'm like, makes me happy. Like,
I
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I think honestly, I probably would have agreed with her, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I probably felt somewhat that way where, money isn't everything or money doesn't, bring happiness. And I think it made me complacent. Like I kind of got just comfortable with life and where I was at. And I just felt like, why do I need more or what is the purpose of money? So I can see where a lot of people fall into that trap though.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap, especially because there's always a push where people with money are evil, especially when you're in the hood, right? There's a lot of people that have that mentality. I think you and I can agree that rich is a mindset first before anything else. So the only second guess or doubt I had was that like relating money with evil, but it was just a moment. Like other than that, I'm like, nah, money does not equal evil and evil does not equal
Yeah.
money. You can still now I know it just enhances who you really are, right? So if you're already a good person and you have money, well now you can be an extra good person. So instead of getting $5 for Christmas, well now you're gonna get $500 away for Christmas, right? But yeah, man, that was the biggest lie I think I was told
That's a
was
good
that
point though.
money isn't
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think a lot of people fall for that a little bit because like you're talking they don't want to be evil or they don't want to be looked at as being evil and that's another thing people are told, right?
Yeah.
People have money. So yeah, that's a lie that I think a lot of people are told, and it kind of promotes a scarcity mindset in a sense. And I think I'm glad that my mindset changed over the past few years and really realized like what you're saying is money um, allows you to do a lot of good things, right? Charities, giving money away, building things, providing housing, but without money, you can't do a lot of those things.
Yeah, that's really true, man. I had a podcast episode where I talk about how the importance or what the importance of money is, right? It literally determines what neighborhood you live in, which determines your chances of getting mugged, which determines the school district that your kid's going to go to. And if you get sick, it determines the quality of healthcare you're going to receive, how fast you're going to receive that healthcare as well. Um, if you're poor, your appointment's at 4 and you don't get seen until like 8 p.m. or something, right? And then when you're rich, you just check in and before you sit down, they're calling you in. So depending on how high risk of a disease or illness that is, that could be a make or break factor. But I think money determines a lot of things. So I could definitely see where she was coming from. And things might work like that in that country and that culture, right? A culture that could be very giving, a culture where a lot of people don't have anything. So everyone pitches in, right? You bring the tortillas and I'll bring the chicken and both eat, right? Or,
Yeah. You
but
you are bringing up a very touchy subject because this is a kind of a, I don't know, I don't want to say argument, but me and a coworker at the firehouse kind
yeah,
of got into the other day. He was
something
basically,
similar.
yeah, he was basically saying, like, you know, we shouldn't need money. People should just, work and everybody pitch in and do their part. And, like, what is the purpose of money? And I was just,
Whoa, really?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah, it was, so I told him, hey, just why don't you work? I'll take your paycheck next month, and we'll see how that works. And
Yeah, you don't like, yeah, give me yours.
yeah,
Here's my
yeah. So it's tough, when other people see money that way or see it as evil. And I mean, I get it. Like I said, you agree to. You kind of, we get it where people are coming from, but at the same time, it's a lot of it is just almost a lie, I feel. And being around other people that think the same is super reassuring and helpful, that you can do a lot of good with money.
Yeah, you could do a lot of good with money. A lot of people arrive to that conclusion just based on different life experiences, right? So her experience was that trip, but I've actually had experiences with really wealthy people, and they've been some of the greatest people I've ever met.
Yeah, they're all
Um,
happy, right? I mean, most times you hang around with people with money, they're happy.
they're very happy, they're very giving, and they're very helpful,
Yeah, not
right?
complaining about a lot of stuff. They're just
Not complaining
usually
on stuff. It's
happy.
like, so they're not draining your energy,
Yeah.
draining your day. Um, right. So when I mentioned, when we first interviewed, when you first interviewed me on your channel, I talked about soccer and seeing those different cities and seeing that there was more out there than just a hood, right? So those are my experiences, and everything I saw was like, no, everything is better with money. Everything is better with money, right? So I don't know. Next time you're arguing with your coworker, if you're on lunch, be like, money got you that meal right there. You know, you're cold,
Yeah.
money's gonna keep you warm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a hard time talking to him already. I mean, nothing. Yeah, it's. I mean, we're good friends, but yeah, it's a challenge sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get it. You're always gonna have people that disagree, and some subjects would be a little too personal, a little too much. I don't know what the proper word is, but yeah, I guess some people can't talk about certain topics. But nah, man, right here, I'll talk to you about money. I'll be open about it. I can let people know, hey, I've been dirt poor where I had to make a little Caesar's pizza last me all week. And now if I just want to leave my office at any time, not on the schedule, and go have lobster across the street at Fleming's, then I can do that now. And I prefer that choice every day versus, okay, I'm going to save this pepperoni slice for tomorrow.
Awesome, man. So I love, your view on it. So for me, the biggest lie that I think I've been told is that, you have to buy a home to be kind of considered successful, or, your home is like an asset. Like, to me, that's the biggest lie that I've been told. What
Oh,
do you think about
really?
that?
That your
Yeah.
primary home is an asset.
Yeah.
That's the biggest lie you've been told.
I That's what I feel. I think that sets up a lot of people for, I wouldn't say failure, but it really handcuffs them or traps them financially.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I go, personal finance is personal. Some people's primary home could be too much home, and some people's not. And then a lot of times some people buy new, right? So nothing's breaking, nothing needs
Yep.
fixing, at least for 15 to 20 years. Um, but yeah, like I mentioned, that could be just your personal experience. Doesn't mean you're right or wrong.
Yeah.
Um, you know?
Trust me, there's a lot of people that don't agree with me. I mean, I get into it a lot with other realtors who, they like to tell people that renting is throwing money away. And I try to tell, hey, see, sometimes it makes more sense to rent, in certain areas, and invest the difference and build your wealth that way, and then you can always buy later. But I feel like we, and I fell for it too. I felt like if you didn't own a home, you were kind of looked down upon, or you weren't considered successful in life.
Yeah. I think I think that could be true if that you're not seen successful in life. I think there's like an age thing though. Like if you're 25, I think most people would be like, all right, that's okay. But if you're 45, then that's a different story. But I know what we could agree on, Mark, is that second house would be an investment. That third house would be an investment. And we're already thinking house four, five, six, seven, eight, etc.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
being assets and cash flowing assets. So, a lot of times people, I guess with you would focus on that problem. And it's like, now let's focus on what we do agree on. And it's house number two is an asset, it's a cash flowing asset. Number three, and the cash flow asset just keeps getting bigger and bigger as the more houses you get.
I also think you just called me old by saying it depends on your age, how you look at this, and saying that, where you, I think you just insulted me a little bit, but without insulting me, you kind of called me old. But yeah, I mean, I think, especially Hawaii, the houses are so expensive. I think, I mean, I'm glad I have my primary residence, and I've used the equity, and it has
Nice.
benefited me. However, I just feel like, I think if I did a lot of things different, I would have been way ahead. And my mindset wasn't there. And it was just, a lot of it was just growing up, our culture out here, a lot of people, it's just, you were told that your home is an asset, and you need to get on the property ladder, which I agree. But like you're saying, it doesn't need to be a primary residence, or it doesn't need to be, or um, uh, an expensive home, right? Something above maybe what you can afford, or where all your money is going into this property.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. So do you consider your primary home, or do you count it in your net worth, the equity in your primary home? Because I see that on Twitter as well. People ask, do you think your primary home's equity is part of your net worth?
I do,
Okay.
because I use it, I guess. I use it to, help me invest in other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you're not using it, then, you know, maybe you can't count it towards your net worth, just because, if you don't ever intend to use it, right? I mean, it's kind of, it's a yeah, it's hard. If you're never going to use it, then you can't really count it, I guess, in a sense. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and it goes back to, personal finance being personal, and whoever's watching it's like, don't compare yourself to anyone. Everyone has a different starting point just based on different life experiences. Right. So if you have a good example of someone that has financial literacy and you're growing up with that, then yeah, they're gonna have a head start, or compared to someone who grew up in a non-financial literacy home, or a home where they didn't talk about it. Um, but when I mentioned personal finance is personal, I've known people that have one home, they never use the equity, and things might not work like this anymore, but you're at a job for 30, 35 years, you got a pension, you have your social security, and you have a paid up home. And I'm like, that's not bad. Like, that's actually not really bad. Because I'm like, you're 65 with a paid out house, you rent this spare bedroom, and you have your social security and your pension and your IRA and your 401k. I'm like, that's not bad. Like, that's really I mean, that's really good. I mean, you've seen the stats I put up with retirement numbers.
Yeah.
That's really good. And that's just a one home, an example for anyone listening where someone had one home, they didn't use their equity. Um, that's not a bad retirement at all, it sounds like.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you said, it's personal, and it's like you say, it's not bad. I think for me though, what changed for me was, like you mentioned, retire at 65, or retirement age. I think so many of us got caught up in this certain age of when we're going to retire or when we can retire,
Yeah.
when if you just do things a little bit differently, then that number might reduce, or like for you, maybe 45, or whatever, but that number changes. And I think that's where um, kind of people get kind of lost. They're looking at it at a certain number instead of a certain age, instead of actually like a cash flow number or retirement number.
You know what? That's very good that you bring that up. You're right. You're right. Maybe we can make something to get people looking at it from the other point of view. Like I said, at the starting point, it's like, where do you want to end up? Like, where do you want to be at 65, right? Versus where do you want to start at 25 or 30 or 35?
Yeah, like what did you say the last, like what, in your 20s? What was your thing again?
Yeah, work your ass off in your 20s, right? So just to break that down more, when you're in your 20s, and Mario, you can back me up here. I don't think you're old, but I know in my 20s. I mean, you could work like a donkey 12 hours a day and still go out and party and still be at work hungover the next morning on time, right? And I don't think you can do that much. I'm 34 now. I would just be like, no, thanks. You know?
Man, I'm in bed by 9 o'clock now.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by work your ass off in your 20s. You have less distractions. You probably have less bills. Half of your 20s, you're probably still living at home. So that gives you the opportunity to put that money away. So when you get to your 30s, you have a nice little chunk that you can put to work for you. So yeah, work your ass off in your 20s. A lot of us don't have kids in the earlier part of our 20s. So that's more time to dedicate to whatever your dreams are. And then when you're in your 30s, you can put that money to work for you. So to break that down more, just from that last episode, when your money's working for you, you get a little bit more of your time back, right? So in your 20s, you could put in your 12 hours of work a day and it doesn't matter. In your 30s, you probably have a family. When that money's working for you, you can spend more time with them because that's what really matters. So yeah, there's one more thing. There's one thing I love more than money. It's time. So that's me personally. Time is one thing I love more than money. But when you're putting that money to work for in your 30s, then you can use your time a little more how you want. And if everything works out well and you get green stock markets and high inflation, your real estate's gonna shoot up too. And then in your 40s, maybe you could be chilling, just have the equity working and all those cash flowing assets working. So just a little more of that breakdown of that one post that we discussed last time.
I love it. I had a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun. I think this was going to turn out well. And like you said, I think it really just comes down to personal finance. Everybody's has to figure out what their goals and vision is, and there's no really right or wrong way to do it. You just got to figure out what works best for you. And we've all been told different things about finance, and you just got to find your group of people that kind of have the same vision as you, and just kind of talk story about it, and see what works best for you.
You know what? I think you said it really well. Yeah, personal finance is personal. Find your tribe that has the same destination and enjoy the journey to get to that destination. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There's never a too late time frame either, or a too early time frame. And not everyone's going to get there at the same time either. Some people might take them 10 years. Some people might take them 5, right? So let's say someone bought their house in 2020, right? 3 years later, their house is 50% more, right? And that's only like in a 3-year period. So yeah, everyone has different speeds as well. And some things are out of our control, like the markets. So very well said, Mark.
All right, well, we're going to cut this one right here and stay right there, and we'll kind of talk about what you're working on in the next topic after this.
All right, cool.
Thanks, Hugo.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Speak soon.